Okay, I guess I'll go. How did day one go? New quarterback room?
Yeah, there was some good things, and I think there was just anytime day one, especially with a couple new, a lot of new faces out there, particularly at quarterback, just a lot of learning opportunities, mistakes they'll make, but the structure of how we've got spring ball with Tuesday and then an off day, I think it really sets up really well for good learning opportunities for the guys. And I just could tell them improving from even like their first set of team to the second set of team, just with their comfort level of calling the offense and operating that way. So yeah, I mean there were some positive things to see, and a lot of veteran guys that it's awesome to see running around out there, but a lot of work to do.
We saw Zach Card get some run. I saw Montrell on the sideline. I didn't see Taz. Is he unavailable right now?
Yeah, he was unavailable to go today, and hopefully we'll see him later in the spring.
Okay.
Coach, you had to just talk about the relationship you made with DJ during the recruiting process, and ultimately him landing here and just what he's brought to the program so far.
Yeah, he's been an awesome guy to get to know, and has played a lot of football and played in some big time games, and I think he's had an awesome attitude as far as coming into a new program, respecting some of the guys that have been here. But man, I just think that kind of humble confidence, I think kind of sat well with Coach Smith and I during the recruiting process of like, hey, this guy's really a confident guy, but he's also real for all the stuff that he's done and how highly recruited he was, and just coming in, I think had a really good attitude about learning, being patient with it, learning the offense, and man, I've really enjoyed getting to know him, and awesome work ethic, and I'm just excited to see him develop from now through the end of spring. It's going to be fun to be a part of.
For sure, and just our observations today, he can definitely throw it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big time arm, and we just got to get him, his eyes and feet all right, and then it's just some things schematically are a little bit different than where he was coming from, and that stuff will come.
The young fellow had a couple of moments as well today. What do you see just right out of the box?
Live arm, and he's just an energetic, fun guy. You can tell when he walks into the huddle, he's just got a presence to him that those guys kind of feed off of, and good confidence to him. And it was awesome to see him in Skelly. I think he hit one, big one down the middle on the post there. But yeah, I mean, and he's got a little athleticism to extend some plays when things break down. So just continuing to get those guys more comfortable with what we're doing and calling it, being under the center a little bit. I just think that they'll quit thinking so much a little bit and just go out and play, and I think we'll see more of that as the spring goes on.
Is it beneficial to have him and somebody like DJ who has played so much football kind of learning things at the same time with him? You could just have like a young guy that can kind of tap along with it like a veteran as they go about it.
Yeah, and I think having Ben Gobranson too, I mean, a guy that's been in our system for a couple of years and did some great things for us a year ago. I mean, I think the room is really, it's a good mix, I guess, of, experience levels, and then those two guys coming in and learning it together. Yeah, DJ's kind of like, hey, I went through it this time at Clemson. This is how I kind of go about learning it, just the process. And then I think the time that, is required to spend away from the practice field to get to learn it and get to really understand it.
You find those guys are leaning on Ben, and Ben is kind of helping them out along the way?
Yeah, Ben's been great, man. I think Ben's helped those guys out a ton, and when those guys have kind of gone and thrown and done some things on their own, I know those guys are constantly asking Ben questions about how we do things, how we call it, why we do something like that when the coaches were not available, and he's been great. He's been great about it. The room, I think so far the room has been great. Those guys are feeding off each other and competing, and it's been fun to be a part of.
So Riley Sharp,
from deciding that, obviously, it seems like an eternity before the season starts. But what will be the separator there? What will you look for in that race?
Yeah, I just think who we feel gives us the best chance to move the football and score a bunch of points, and who we really feel like we really trust, I guess, to do the things that we're asking that position to do and run our offense. Yeah, there's so much time. I mean, it's before we get to that first game. And right now, I've just challenged those guys to really just dive into it, learn it, experience it. You're going to make some mistakes coming through spring. I've just asked them to learn from it and then come out and be better the next day.
Competition is nothing new, and neither is like roster additions. But when you're someone like Ben and you're now competing against somebody who is arguably the most famous transfer in college football this year, like do you guys approach him differently, and just like how you help him prepare to face that competition, or just like kind of like handle that?
Ben's been great, man, and Ben's been competing since the day he got here. And we've talked a little bit about it, and I just said, man, from watching the film from last season, he did a lot of good things and won some ball games for us, and MVP of the bowl game. And I think he grew a ton last year, and I think he had a great offseason. And so I think it was for him, is like, you don't have to go out and be perfect, on every play. Is go out and keep challenging yourself, make some mistakes, and then keep growing and developing yourself and let it play out. But he's had a great attitude about it. And, it's going to be a fun competition to watch as these other two guys get more comfortable with what they're doing, and they can get kind of on the same level. Right now, Ben's got a pretty good leg up because he's just more comfortable with the system and how we're doing things.
Riley Sharp made the move from linebacker over to tight end. He played tight end eons ago when he was a high school student. Do you see him maybe taking more of that Jack Coletto role where he could block, he could maybe be a fullback, or do you see him as a pure tight end?
That's something I think we'll sort out as the spring goes on. I know we're kind of we're looking to fill that role with Coletto, and I think this spring we're going to try a number of different guys there, and Riley could be one of those. Right now, I think he's just moving positions as we've kind of focused on, hey, let's just learn the tight end spot. But as we get into the fall, and we'll see how it kind of plays out with the other people there, but I think that's something that we could potentially look at.
In terms of just your quarterback coaching career, is this one of the deeper quarterback rooms you've been a part of?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I've been fortunate to be a part of some pretty good ones, man. And I think, you look at it, I feel like the talent's there right now. And right now, myself as a coach, I'm like, man, I got to catch these new, the guys that are new, I got to catch them up. And that's just I just think it's a fun challenge for you as a coach. It's like, hey, I got some guys with some ability now, not that we didn't in the past, but I've got some guys with ability. I can really, get these guys caught up, and I think there's just a big ceiling for the offense moving forward.